Yeah, there we go. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Eff Yeah Podcast. My name's Ty Kelly. Another fun Sunday planned for you. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. Again, my name's Ty Kelly. I'm the writer-creator of Project Titans, Shuttle or the Defender, Atlas Rising, and 37 other titles in my head that I don't have the funding to put out yet, but we're going to work on that. So it's all going to be good. I'm going to pass it over to the Nick to my right. And let him introduce himself, and then we'll go from there. Marvin, click the link, buddy. Join us. We missed you.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Nick. My new title this week, I've decided, is going to be Pop Culture Connoisseur. So
It's a better title than your last one.
It is. I like it better than the other one. It fits better in the window. But
okay.
So
his last title was Lord Emperor of Everything Todd Doesn't Want to Do.
Pretty close.
Oh yeah. Well,
spot on.
The PCC for short. We'll do it that way.
PCC.
Okay.
All right, okay. PCC. All right, and our guest for today, our other Nick, I'm going to let him introduce himself as well because I will butcher all of his awesomeness, so I'm going to let him go take that one.
Awesome. I'm Nick Piepmeier. I'm one of the owners of Fallout Comics, the home store for these chuckleheads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very true.
Very true.
So, co-owner of Fallout Comics. So, Fallout Comics, for anybody who isn't familiar, is off of Appalachian Parkway near the Best Buy. It is one of the just largest and most awesome laid out stores that I have ever been in. It's one of the few comic book stores that you walk in and you really get great customer service. Like, there's just great energy. You guys have a really great vibe of when to just kind of let people search versus when to let people actually when you need to get in there and kind of help them find what they're looking for. And again, you've got a really cool crew. So thank you for that because there's not enough of those awesome stores out there. So that is very cool. So I'm going to ask you, hang on, we're going to, before we jump into our first question, let me go ahead and, it's Marvin.
He said he was coming.
It's a Swerve. We have a Swerve sighting. Swerve, do we have audio? We didn't get a test any of this. Are you here?
Can you hear me?
My man. Hey. Yes, I miss your glorious voice.
I have returned.
So do we need to redo intros or do you know who everybody is?
I know you. I've seen this guy probably at the 7-Eleven with the beard.
Yeah.
One at the top there, Nick, his name.
That's a frequent.
But there are two Nicks. So
there are two Nicks. You've been gone a while.
I've been gone a while. Internet problems.
Yeah, I was coming for your spot, but you showed up.
So you would have had to. You seen John Wick 4 yet? You would have to. We had to duel. We had to, take 10 spaces, turn, and shoot at somebody.
Oh man!
All right, so Swerve is here. Quick summary of the 30 seconds of the show that you missed. Nick over here is the co-owner of Fallout Comics in Tallahassee, Florida, and I spent a solid minute talking about how amazing the freaking store is. So just anybody who wants to know how amazing it is, just go back and watch the first minute there. So I want to ask,
put it on loop.
Yeah, put it on loop. You're good. You're good. So first, real quick, we're going to hype Free Comic Book Day this Saturday. We're just joking around about that. We're going to be doing Free Comic Book Day this Saturday at Fallout Comics. Go for it. Have fun. Be awesome. And also our sponsor up over by Nick, Infinity Con in Tallahassee, July 8th, July 9th.
This mirror stuff is not working out. There.
Yeah. So there you go. There it is over there.
I was going to say, what the hell is he pointing at?
I don't know. Nick and
backwards.
Nick from Fallout Comics will be there as well. So we're going to chat about that as well. So awesome. So now I want to get in and ask my first question that I've been trying to ask for 5 minutes. And that is how did that journey begin? What did it look like, becoming the co-owner? I know it was previously owned originally just by Mark and his family. Is that correct? And then
That's
you
right.
kind of came in. So how did that all work out?
So I really came into the picture probably 12 years ago, and I worked for Mark. That was my college job. So I went to Florida State, and I was working at the comic shop, and then I did a bunch of other odd jobs, but I always kept working at the comic shop. Then I went and got my degree and got my adult job and worked for the state government. And then that wasn't very fun. And we stopped doing that. And I came back to Mark and I was like, what can we do? And he's like, I'm tired of working a million zillion hours a week. And I went, well, I'm tired of working for the state government. So then we formed our powers combined. And now we have the one of the largest stores in Florida.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, so how did that work out though? I mean, did he make you like, did you have to go through like some trials, or is he just like, for the love of God, I don't want to work anymore? Like, I'm thinking like the 12 labors of Hercules. Like, did he make you do that to kind of join in?
I feel like I covered that. Mark and I work really well together. And like, we get the questions all the time where they go like, what do you do when you guys fight? And we're just like, we don't. And people are like, yeah, but really, come on, what do you do when you fight? And I'm like, we just don't. I don't know what to tell you, man. So when I came back, it was just the timing was right, and we came to an agreement, and we decided to put our foot down and try and really build this thing.
Well, you guys have. I mean, again, so I mean, you changed. And I want to say originally it was at a different location, and then it got moved over by the Best Buy, and then you guys took the larger location. And I mean, now it's absolutely huge and amazing. And again, like I can't tell you how many comic book stores I go into, or unfortunately, no shot at small comic book stores. I love small comic book stores. You guys have your own unique feel too. But you go to Fallout and you got elbow room. That's the best way I'm going to describe it. You got a little bit of elbow room. Everything's displayed.
And our store has been through small store phases as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like, and now it's 10,000 square feet. So like, I love small stores too. As long as the people are friendly and cool, then I think that it's all gravy. But like we get so many people that walk into our store now and haven't seen it yet and just go, wow. And I'm like, yeah, it is pretty cool.
Well, and it's funny because I had two buddies with me last week. And, we came in. I'm not going to say what time of day it was because I may or may not have should have been at work. But got two buddies with me. And when they walked in, the first time they saw it, you could tell they were just like, yo, what is this? Like, this is ridiculous. Because, again, you don't see it very often.
So basically what you're saying, I need to go to this comic book store.
Yeah, you need to come up to Tallahassee.
Free comic book. Come up next Saturday.
I wish I could, but I'll be at a Comic-Con down here. Hero Trader. It's a local one down here in Fort Myers. So this is a new one, herotrader.com. Herotrader.com and Hero Trader. It was supposed to be done last year, but COVID and everything and trying to get back in messed up everything. So
it was a hurricane, right?
But I also was invited to a couple other things too. So I'm gonna be all over the place this weekend, but I promise I will make it to Tallahassee. I want to see the store, man. I like going to comic book shops and stuff and just checking them out. And
I look forward to meeting you, man, in person, not on video.
No, the video stuff is not. This is not good. It keeps a certain percentage of me out. You want to meet the entire version of me. It's an incredible thing. It's breathtaking.
Guys, we're
awesome.
We're trying to sell a podcast here. Videos are great.
We love videos.
Videos are great.
Videos are awesome.
We're so good. Sponsored by Infinity Con. We love Infinity Con. David, you can put my check in the mail. Thank you, sir.
Everything is awesome.
I love it. All right, so we got Free Comic Book Day coming up this Saturday. What's that like every year? I've been to one of your Free Comic Book Days. This will be the second one that I'll be attending. How has that kind of grown over the years, and what does it look like for your prep?
Sure. So about when I first came back to the store from working in the States, so about 5 years ago at this point, I just had the idea where Free Comic Book Day has existed for a long time, and a lot of times you can go to the store, you get a grab bag, yippee skippy, and I went, what if we made this a holiday? So we invite local artists, we give away a ton of stuff. This year we're going to have Spider-Man there to take pictures with kids. And every single year it's gotten bigger and badder. I think we have 7 guest artist tables this year, which is more than ever before, including you beautiful people ripping your book. And we got 3 costumes. We've had droids there. We've had Mandalorians there. We're going to have Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Oh, I got a Ghostbuster the other day. So we're going to be busting some ghosts. But this year, we're giving away 5 free Comic Book Day books, 5 books out of our dollar bins, and we're doing 25% off all day. So we're giving away more than ever. We have more guest artists than ever. If you've never been to a convention, this is kind of like we threw a convention in the back half of our store.
Well, that's how Comic-Con started in the first place. So, you know, that's exactly how it started in like in a warehouse area and stuff like that, in a old comic book stores, and then Disney came.
But we would love this podcast to be sponsored by Disney if they want to cut a big fat check.
And we've talked about this on previous podcasts. Todd will sell his soul. There is a number.
I will sell out right now.
You two better stop before you are visited by freaking Beelzebub, you know. The devil shows up. So I heard you said something about selling something.
Wondering. Number is very reachable.
Just sign on the dotted line with the blood from your fingertip, you know.
We are priced to sell.
Yeah, but how many zeros are on that thing that we're signing in blood? That's what we want to know.
And where's the comma? Like that's
where's the comma and where's the zero?
Exactly.
All right. Remember, who was that Ghost Rider? That contract, it was, you got to get you a demon lawyer to read the bylines. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be caught up in judicial
stuff. Hear me out. Hell Charger is pretty cool.
I agree. I own a Charger myself, so.
You're halfway there. Let's set it on fire and get that Disney money.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'm with you.
Yeah, we're
back in.
You want the Louis Vuitton suit, the Gucci suit, all that stuff. We've talked about this already. The helicopters.
Yeah.
I know. I guess maybe that little angel is one side and the devil's on the other one. So you can't see it, but it's yeah. That's all that. That left side be working when I get around you too. It'd be like, yo, these guys are right. You should. Take 8 ball with you, you know. And the angel be like, nah, you shouldn't do that. And I'd be like, but they got money. And I'm poor.
Just flick it. Yeah.
Bye.
Just write me a number. We can talk it out. Like I will teach you how to sell me. It's very easy. Just come to me and tell me exactly which one of my bills you're going to pay off. Are you paying off one of the vehicles? Are you paying off my mortgage? Are you paying off my daughter's college? Which one are you going to take care of for me right now?
What if they just catch the light bill, you know?
You know, it's not enough. Like, I don't know. I can catch the light bill. That's fine. I need you to take care of something that, like, you know, is currently outside of the realm of just being taken care of. So,
all right, fine. You don't want to catch the light bill.
Again, back to the zeros and commas. You got it.
Yeah. That's just it. I need multiple commas, a bunch of zeros. So, all good. So, free comic book day this Saturday. We're all going to go places. We should go live, Swerve. So, just a heads up, we should go live during free comic book day and have fun.
Sure.
We should make that happen. So, free comic book day is, we'll book it. We're going to figure it out. So, off the top of your head, you mentioned a couple guests. Who do you got that you want to talk about? So, I know we got Brandy Berry coming on. She's got her. She's going to be it's going to be the debut of her book,
and it looks awesome.
It looks awesome. So Western and Vampires, I feel horrible because I don't remember the name of it. I'm sorry. But it's absolutely awesome.
Didn't she talk about it on the episode? Did she talk
about
it? Go back and watch it. Go back and watch
the episode with Brandy Berry. She'll talk about her book. It's absolutely amazing. I've seen the first 12 pages. It's really cool. I can't wait to buy it. So guaranteed. I'm probably going to buy more books than I actually sell at this event. So it's going to be cool. So we got Brandy, we got us. Who else do we got coming?
We've got my new buddy Andre. He creates the Somewhere in Between comic. That's
that cool.
A cool web comic. We've got Daniel Hooker, who has a smattering of books that he's done. Line of Ruin. He's selling a bunch of art prints. let's see who else. We got Hoyt Silva. He might drag Trey. I haven't really gotten confirmed on that. So now that we've said it live, Hoyt has to come. We've spoken into existence.
You hear it, you gotta show up.
He's repping his new book that we'll have there that he just kickstarted. Season of Change. Look, I remembered, so he can put his check in the mail to the podcast too. We've got our some local guys, the guys from Studio B. They're tattoo artists. They do paintings. They do jewelry. They do all sorts of stuff. So they'll be repping their stuff and trying to book some tattoos too. And if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry.
No, you forgot. It just means we haven't announced them yet.
By saying with a host of others, you know what I'm saying? That's how you close it all off.
With an ambiguous amount of more or less people.
There you go. They will
more
all
to be announced later.
There you go. That's you got to save some. There's got to be some surprises.
I really got to get up there now. I'm like, that is impressive.
It's a big store. It's a big store, and again, awesome crew, awesome staff. They do a great job, and they have everything, which is the cool part. Yeah. You go into a lot of stores, and unfortunately, it is what it is. But they're going to order what sells, right? So they're going to order what sells. And sometimes, if it's not what you're interested in, or even worse, I get annoyed sometimes because they'll order like issue 1, they'll order issue 2, and then they don't order issue 3 of a book, and I'm like, yo, what the?
I mean, inside baseball here, I feel. Just because I have a bigger store does not mean I don't just order what sells.
No, I believe it. But
at the end of the day, we just have a bigger critical mass, but there's still stuff where people are like, oh, 5 years ago used to carry this product line. You're like, yeah, I don't anymore. It didn't sell well, so I don't carry it now.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. I'm literally talking about comic book stores that order issue 1, order issue 2, and then just leave me hanging on issue 3. I recently had it happen. That's the only reason I'm salty about it. I haven't run into that scenario at your location yet. So, again, you guys do a great job of stocking. Again, it seems like at least a little bit of almost everything. That way you get the opportunities. You guys pick up different indie books. Like, again, you guys have a bunch of the Scout books. And again, there's just a pretty wide variety whenever you're going in there, in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
So that being said, how do you choose what you order?
Well, I mean, it always depends on the budget you're working with. So over the years, especially in small marketplaces like Tallahassee, so we get the question all the time, like, oh, are you going to pick up X Marvel book? You're like, yes, we're going to get all the Marvel books. We're going to get all the DC books. We'll probably get all the Image books and stuff like that. And it's just when you get down to the smaller presses that there is a critical mass where maybe your local market just isn't as into some of those things as they would just rather read Spawn and Star Wars. But I mean, as far as all of the other product lines go, a lot of what we did when we moved to the bigger store is we just took stuff that we knew already worked. Like, we sell a ton of board games, we sell the Games Workshop family of products, and we just expanded it like crazy. We sell a ton of Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, so space let us do more. But then, you take calculated gambles here and there where you go, well, maybe I'll try action figures out. And you dabble in it a little bit, and if it does well, you go, well, I guess we should carry action figures. Or, I remember, strike me with lightning if I'm lying. And I was like, I said that there are two things in our smaller store. I was like, you know what I don't want to be? A toy shop or carry manga. And now I have
both of them.
100 feet of manga and toys all over the place because you know what? You just eat crow sometimes and you go, well, I was wrong. And I feel I'm free to admit that we should carry those things. But it usually starts with what if we got 3 shelves? And then it starts selling really fast. You're like, what if we got 6 shelves? What if we just made it 100 feet of shelves? And let's go with that and see what happens.
Well, that's good. That's money talks.
Hey, I'm happy to be wrong if it makes money.
Exactly.
Oh man, how much of I know y'all do sell a lot of like the gaming stuff. How much of that? How much of that plays into everything? So like when you're ordering stuff, like not ordering stuff, but like how much of the business is the gaming stuff versus the comic stuff?
We're split. It's hard to just give you the pie, but like the new comics and new releases for like Warhammer and the new releases for the card games and the new board game releases, like that all pays the bills. I'd say we're pretty split between like if I get all of the gaming, if I get board gaming and the game and Warhammer and D&D and all of that stuff, it's probably split pretty close to 50-50. That like we get a ton of people that come in that are specifically like I'm just here to get my gaming books, get dice. I'm inviting new people in that, and they're like, I don't really read comics. Then we get 50% of people that are like, I don't really understand gaming. I'm just here to dig through back issues for 7 hours. And like we get in between of people who like, oh, I started reading comics, but that game over there looks pretty cool, and then they're suckered in for life, and they can just forward all their extra money straight to me, but at least they have a good time doing it.
I think I'm the in-betweener. That's usually what happens to me. I'm like, oh, this looks fun.
Yeah, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to play a lot of new games recently, but I did just play Heroes of Barcadia with my friends last night, and that game rules. So if they want to sponsor the pod, let's go.
So what is it? Tell us about it.
Okay, so Heroes of Barcadia is a dungeon crawl drinking game.
Wait, what?
Yes. So your character is a pint glass, and it has little delineations of health on it, and then you move your pint glass on a board made out of vinyl coasters, and you battle monsters and bosses and each other, and when you take damage, you drink your damage. And it rules.
That's probably a short game.
It depends on how much damage you take.
It depends on what you put in the pint glass as well.
I was doing Guinness. I'm a dark beer fan. Some of the other people around the table were doing ciders. Before we played, we were joking. We're like, let's pour whiskey in them. We would have died. No. We would have absolutely just died if we had tried that. So you got to go lower ABV on these things. But the game was absolutely a blast. Would recommend come buy a copy from my shop. Oh, you guys can come over and play. Get a babysitter, Todd, and we'll play Heroes of Barcadia.
I'm game, yeah. I mean, I don't really drink, but I'll like bring milk or something.
I don't know if that would be worse if you had to chug milk for 2 hours.
Look, that's only fun if you're lactose intolerant. Then you still.
Oh no, that's not fun for anybody.
That'll be fun for you.
Hey, bro, I'm in my mid-30s. Every other month, it's hit or miss of whether or not I'm lactose intolerant. Like, this is where it goes, man.
Yeah, when I turned 30, I think I became allergic to cats. So I don't know. It just happens.
I feel like at this point, like every year, it's just like you got to run down a checklist of like, all right, man, what can I do now that I couldn't do? Like, look, where are we at? Like, what messes me up this go around? Like, what can I eat? What can't I eat? What's my recovery time on this? Like, yeah, it gets rough quick. That game sounds cool, though. I definitely want to check that out. And yeah, unfortunately, we probably will end up buying it on Saturday. That will probably end up happening. So, fun times. Good job.
One of us.
Yes. Yeah, something's wrong with it. It's like one copy will be bought.
Yeah, we got it. It's a fun game.
No. Now, can we play it at Free Comic Book Day? Or is that like,
I mean,
you own the shop.
I don't want to say no, but I probably should.
What are those guys doing back there? Don't worry about it.
Some milk.
Free Comic Book Day after dark.
Yeah.
$2 a ticket to watch the artist.
Yeah.
Hammered.
Well, let them take bets on who's gonna win. No, that would be fun though in terms of just getting home. Like, how'd you do? I didn't sell shit.
can't remember shit.
we just partied.
What happened? I don't know what happened.
I had a great
I
time.
woke up at home.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
All I know is I woke up at home and there was a cow in the living room.
I took a lot of damage. I was bad at playing the game. Oh, I freaking love it. Freaking love it. All right, so let's talk about our sponsor there for a second. So Infinity Con, which is going to happen in July. You guys have been doing that show pretty much out the gate. Like you've done every one of those, haven't you guys?
Yeah, we've been to, I think there's been 3 because we missed 2020.
Yeah,
but we were at the inaugural 1-day show. We were there last year at the 2-day show. We're going again this year.
Yeah.
Usually David throws us right in the front. Oh, we were both in the front last year. We hung out a lot.
Yeah.
And that was
especially on Sunday. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Like there was tons of stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think the special effects guys were like blowing each other up, and there was all the Star Wars guys in the back.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And they had like the Rancor, I think.
The big huge Rancor that they brought in on a forklift. Yeah.
I remember my daughter chasing around the Pikachu. There was like a 6-foot Pikachu.
The inflatable Pikachu.
Oh yeah, the inflatable one.
Yeah, my daughter was chasing that around. I remember that one. No, it's a fun show though. I enjoy it. So, how do you guys pick? Kind of what shows you go to? Because I know you've done a few of them. So again, you've done Infinity. But I know you do MegaCon as well. How do you kind of pick what shows you go
to? Right now, we actually just started having enough staff and people to both keep the store open and go to shows. So we're still in the experimental phase of what shows we really like and want to keep going to. I know some other store owners that like I've been talking to, and they're like, we do 26 shows a year, and I'm like, I can't do that. I want to do like 4 or 5. Yeah, I get so tired at the end of the shows. Those people are machines. So right now we've been to MegaCon for the past 3 years, and it's within driving distance, and it's a huge show, so we love going to that one. We're going to Heroes Con for the first time this year. We're going to give that one a go. It's also a big, huge show in Charlotte. We'll support pretty much anything that's local in Tallahassee because I'd like us to grow our Infinity Cons to a big, huge show. We just did the little Tallahassee Comic and Toy Expo yesterday. That was a ton of fun. You stopped by.
Shout out to Tom and them that run that show. Absolutely great one. Great cause for the Shriners, and all the money that they get goes towards them. So that's really cool. We did that last year, I think.
So, I mean, really, it's probably not a huge surprise, but the shows we really like are the shows that we make money at. Like, I know that's not the exciting answer, but you don't want to, like, pay for a table, pay for a hotel, gas up the truck, fill it with stuff, unpack it, pack it up, wait on a dock, do all the things, and then go, we lost $200. You're just not going to feel very good about that. You want to go home like dancing because like you just put a bunch of money in the bank account.
How do you pick what you take to shows? Like, do you base off of like the theme of the show, or do you try to offload back stock, or what do you pick?
So I actually have different strategies for different shows. So we pretty much only go to the shows that at least a major component of it is selling comic books, because that's what we do. I sell comic books to pay for my house. So, but there are shows where like our goal is to take as much of our high-end product. Like we did that at MegaCon. We took a bunch of high-end books, a bunch of expensive things, and because you get so many people there, you have a higher chance of someone going like, I've been looking for that $2,000 book. Let's go.
Right.
And
makes sense.
A lot of the smaller shows, or like the shows that are in town, since we have a store that both of the shows are like 2 miles away from, then we generally play fun games and do mystery boxes and sell new like dollar bin stuff and make it treasure hunt mode, because that's just what does well. because a lot of the people that we see at these local shows are regular customers. So if like they were looking for a super high-end book, they'd probably just go to the shop and pick it up there. So we have different strategies depending on different shows, especially as we've been there before. We're always dialing in the strategies of going like, oh, let's take this and not that. Oh, that didn't do so well. Take less of that, take more of this, and then just see how correct you are every year. But we're always dialing in the strategies to try and make the shows better.
So is there any point where like you're let's say like a Friday night on a MegaCon and you're like, holy crap, we've sold like 50 of this already, where you're calling one of your employees and be like, yo, I need you to overnight us. Like, I need you to hop in the truck, load this crap up, drive down to Orlando, bring this for us for tomorrow morning. I
haven't had that yet. Normally what we take, we go, man, if we sold all 50 of these, I would just be like, I'm good. Like, you just high five and move something in its place. Like, I haven't had the, like, yo, drive 4.5 hours down here and get us a reload yet. But, you know, I hope to in the future. Mm-hmm. But normally I'm like, I'm not trying to load any of this stuff back up. Like, if people want to be, I want as many people to come buy things as possible because I get better gas mileage on the way home.
That sounds like a familiar strategy.
I was going to say, yeah, very, very similar to how we approach shows.
I'm not trying to take stuff back.
No. Come Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, I'll wheel and deal a little bit. Definitely, put on the salesman face even more, and try to not bring any of it home whatsoever. The downside is, though, and I will say, I hate when this happens. It's a good problem to have, but I'm really bad about like when I get to the next show, like I'm always kind of cocky about it because I've done enough of them now, and I'm just like, okay, cool. I don't have to load anything or start prepping until like maybe a day or two before the show. And when we have like a really good show, and I forgot that we had a really good show, like all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, like I don't have inventory. Like what am I like? I start going into scramble mode, and I'm like, okay, cool. I've got this from 3 years ago. I should go sell this, and
whatever you got, man.
And that's it, dude. Like I'm going through the garage. But yeah, I'm bad about that, especially recently. So I'm gonna have to. We don't have anything. I think we've got Free Combo Day, and then we've got Infinity Con. So it won't happen to me this year. But yeah, I've gotten really bad about not only not like checking my inventory ahead of time, and then also like you can't do this, but I'll end up showing up to a show like 15-20 minutes late. Because we've got one table set up, 2 banners, we've got like put 8 books on display, and then I just start talking, right? Like, I mean, that's what we do. So like I've gotten notorious for showing up to shows late, to the point where I applied for a show one time and their only response was like, okay, but don't be late.
I mean, like this was the first year when we went to MegaCon, this was the first year where we like dialed in the strategy where I did we were prepping like 2 weeks out, and like we need to load the boxes this way so that when we get there you can unload faster. But like everything went so much smoother this time, where the first year you're like, just throw stuff in the truck and we'll figure it out later, and it's exactly that, where you're just freaking out because you're like, I was not prepared. But now you're like, okay, if we load this, then when we unload it, it won't be in the way, and then I can build the comic book rack, and then I can do this, and everything will be set up. And then like right when it's like, all right, we're letting in VIP members, you're like, and we're ready, and everything just happened when it was supposed to. But like, man, you gotta prep better, my dude. And like, you should probably increase like whatever you sold last time. I don't know, increase it 15%. You got to push it, my man.
So the funny part is we did that for so long, and then I got us a surplus. Like we had a surplus. Like I ordered enough stuff, and I think at one point, obviously, because so many cons got canceled in like 2020, like we had just a surplus of stuff, and then we went on this run of shows, and I mean we were just crushing these shows, and whatever. I admit this. I have a healthy ego. Got a little cocky. Got a little arrogant with some things. And didn't keep track of it, didn't, pay attention. And I think it was one of the shows. I don't remember which one it was. There was one last year where, like, I showed up and I thought I had way more inventory than I did. Like, and I just, because I didn't even look. I just grabbed, like, a couple of the boxes that normally had a bunch of stuff in it. And I looked
like,
at the box.
Oh no, my daughter's crayons.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting real quick. And then so I remember, I thought I had this brilliant strategy though. I was like, I'm just going to up the price of everything. I was like, this is what I'm going to do, right? Like, and my intent, this is going to sound horrible, but my intent with upping the price was that it would last longer. I would still make kind of what I needed to make, and then I wouldn't run out of product because since it was higher cost, less people were going to buy it. I'd have to sell it more. It'd have to be people that were really interested. It didn't happen at all. I upped the cost. Everybody still bought it, and like midday through Saturday, I'm like, well, I should have left.
Yeah, I mean, I guess your biggest problem is everyone's still like,
I sold all my stuff. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, darn. I hate selling all my stuff.
It's a problem. Well, so that's why I asked
right now, Sunday when it's slow.
So that's
nothing's happening.
So the reason I asked if you ever had to like dial in and have somebody bring some stuff, because I've legitimately had to do that before, where I've had to call and just like, hey, you meet me? Like, right, I didn't bring enough stuff.
I mean, well, when you sell out this time on Sunday, I'll go get a tattoo. You can run my booth.
It makes you feel better.
Let's do it.
Yeah, if you want to keep doing work, then I'll put you to work, and I'll just go hang out.
You know what? That would be fun. I'm down. Like,
I did talk to another dealer. Like, we were joking. We're like, especially like 3 and 4 day shows, you just kind of get sick of being in the 15 feet of stuff you're in. So we were joking, like comic dealers going to other people's booths, and you just try and sell your butt off, but it's new stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you could get everyone to like Scouts Honor actually try really hard, like you'd be like, I'd do it. I'd go to the booth across the way and be like, yo, let's sell. And then you still keep whatever they sell for your booth, but
go
just do it as a game.
Style. Every 15 minutes a whistle blows and everybody
everyone's changed places, but you'd be more excited because you're like, okay, what am I selling? Action figures? I'm in. Dude, you need this Macho Man action figure. You should pay double. Give it to me in cash. Like, because like, I try not to be mean, but at some of the conventions, like, people just walk up to your booth randomly and be like, hey, do you know where, like, customer services is? And you're like, yeah, I just have a booth. I've been in this 15 feet for 4 days. No, I don't. I don't know where anything is unless I can see it.
I know where the bathrooms are, and I know where the concession stand is.
That's right.
It. That's all I got. And I know that burger that I've paid $15 for 4 times is not worth it.
Yeah. I don't want the little pizza again.
I've been back 4 times. I hate your food. Give me another one.
Well, because you gotta eat, man. You gotta eat. No, but it's funny you mentioned that though, because we've had a scenario one time where we sold out, and it's bad posture to leave early. And so very similar. I mean, we had upped the inventory, but we sold out. It was cool. It was fun. So we didn't want to leave early, so went and just sold for a couple other people. Like I just went and sat at their booth, and I left mine unattended because there wasn't anything to take. And
you sold it all.
So it was banners. And so I went and sold for somebody else, and I had a flipping blast, man. Like, it was great. I had so much fun selling their book. So yeah, I mean, that card's fun. I enjoy it. Like, I think it would be funny if we could do that, or if we could get like 4 or 5 people who would be down to do that. And then that'd be a way to make like Sunday afternoon fun. Like, just change it up. Like, all right, you got 30 minutes. Like, have a little contest and like see who can sell the most.
See who does better.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that'd be fun.
But then, do you pretend that you're the person at the booth?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think you have to. Like, you have to like embrace it. Like, so we can.
Well, my inspiration for Project Titans was just make it up.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what we'll do though. We'll get one of those like costume beards, and I'll just leave it there, and whoever's coming to pretend to be me and Nick can just put on the costume beard.
Then people would be like, but where's the gimmick? Like, at the next show, they'd be like, well, why aren't you doing the beard thing?
Yeah. You know what? Beard? I don't know. You know what? I'll grow it out. I'll grow it out between now and then if it works. That'd be fun though. We can figure something out. That would work.
You just can't. You just have to not sell out immediately, Bragg.
I have a question.
Yes, Marvin.
Thank you, Nick.
What's up, Sword?
No, I'm intrigued with like how can like the indie guys get the books into your stores? I mean, what is the process of that?
So some more inside baseball is I get 100 billion calls and emails every week of like, will you buy my thing or carry my thing? And I'm kind of Scrooge McDuck because like I will say that like the thing that I try to do, especially for the people who are self-publishing their book, is rather than having those people get your book from me, where I'm like, yeah, I read it, it's super cool. I like doing events like Free Comic Book Day and stuff like that, and bringing the creators to me, and then being like, you should just go meet them, because like then they can get super excited about getting the indie book from the source. They can get it signed. They can feel all good, and then everybody wins. They had a good experience at the store. They had a good experience meeting you guys, and like everybody gets super happy. And other than that, like, meeting me in person goes a long way. I'll be honest. We were joking about it earlier, but we love video. Keep sponsoring the podcast. But it just like another of the 500 billion emails that are like, you should buy my thing, it's really cool. Yeah, it probably is, but so are the other 499 billion things that were asked me to give them money to. And it's not personal. You just allocate money to what you know sells, because like all joking aside, this pays for my family. So that just is what it is. Like I'm gonna do that first. But I like running events. Like we're not like, well, if you want to sell your book, give me $1,000 up front. I just want people to have a good time and meet the creators of the books. I'm really excited about the cool Cowboy Vampire book. I bring it up again. It looks awesome. But I'm also excited to be heard.
Cowboys and vampires goes right together like dinosaurs and Cadillacs. Yeah.
That's right. Aliens and predators.
Aliens and predators. No, but that I like your concept to that. That is true. That's a lot smoother instead of just trying to deal with people and stuff. So if you did do something like that, and you just have like the people come up and meet because a lot of people won't, like, if I'm not at the table, people don't want to buy my book. They'll be like, yo, where's MD Mac at? Where's Swerve? Oh, he walked around the corner for a minute. Okay, I'll wait until he comes back. And it's like, just buy the book. I'll be back to sign it. Trust me, just come back. I'm here. Nope, they won't do it. So that's an awesome concept.
Yeah, and like when you get into the, like, I always have our lawyer is one of our friends, but you always get like the little lawyer in your brain. Is sometimes when you pick up people's products that they make, usually not comics, but some of the other stuff, like you could be violating a contract with one of your major distributors. So then you go, hey, it's not personal. I've carried that product line for 20 years, and like I'm sure your thing is cool. But if I just let you sell your cool thing, then I didn't do nothing.
Okay, gotcha. That's absolutely correct. I got you on that.
Well, it's funny you mentioned, people not buying, unless you're not there. So that's why I bring another bearded person with me, and Nick can get away with just like, yeah, it's me. I'm good to go. It's like, so there's not enough difference between us where people walking by won't be able to tell. So Nick sometimes will outsell me at cons. Just I like to wander around. So.
And he's like, yep. And my inspiration for Shelter the Defender was.
In other words, Nick, your pimp hand is strong in the comic biz. Your pimp hand is strong.
Hey, I mean, I'll take it.
It's so funny.
I'm gonna get the fake beard, and we're gonna have a Nick versus Nick pretending to be Todd sell-off.
Let's do it.
I like it.
Let's do it. We'll do it at Infinity Con.
All right,
and then while
David, keep cutting those checks.
While you guys are there, I'll be running the Fallout booth. Oh, I love it. Oh, something I wanted to bring up. You guys did the Power Ranger, Jason Font. You guys did that signing with him. How did that come about? What was that?
Well, honestly, he called our store.
Yeah.
And I, being me, my default answer, he's like, hey, this is who I am. And I was just like, no, I don't want you to come. I'm like, pass. And then he was
No,
like, well,
don't
hold
believe
on.
you. Get out of
And I
here.
was like, okay. I've never gotten hit with the well, hold on. After I've been like, no, I'm about to hang up on you. Bye. And then he was like, well, here's what I want to come by. This is who I am. You should actually look it up. And I went, well, okay. But my default was just like, no, I don't
I'm
care.
good.
Don't come. But then
I know not to call the comic book shop. I'll just come to Tallahassee. I will wait those
right.
4 hours to
Yeah.
drive straight to Tallahassee and be like, yo, it's me. Remember me?
That's right. I'm here. But he does like little tours, and he said he started doing that during COVID because all the cons got canceled.
Yeah.
So he would do tours and be like, hey, meet a Power Ranger. So it ended up being really cool. He's a super nice guy.
I said he
feel
was
bad.
really cool when he was.
Yeah,
there.
he was so nice. And I felt bad for my initial reaction being like, I don't care about you. I don't want you to come. But then it turned into like, okay, you're really cool. You're super nice. Let's do it. And then he came and he made a bunch of people's day. He signed helmets. We did poses, taking pictures with him. Like, he was a super cool guy.
Yeah, he was. Again, I thought it was interesting too. Like he took his time with everybody, which I thought was really cool. Like he wasn't trying to rush anybody, and they did a good job of like interacting with the people that were still in line. So like I don't think anybody that was there felt like they were getting any less of an experience than anybody else. But he was just taking his time. He was interacting with everybody. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And if you guys did this on purpose, kudos to you. If you did it, this was just great. When he walked in and the I think it was Back in Black was like playing, and he was like he was in black like head to toe and like walking in like right as it was going, and it reminded me of like some WWE like entrance music. Like he was just rolling in, and I was just like,
for sure,
what? This is cool.
You couldn't have gotten a better entrance. As he was strolling down the hall, he's in black, Back in Black's playing, and like everyone turns to look, and he was just like, "What's up? How's it going? I'm a Power Ranger."
Oh yeah, that was a trip, dude. That was really cool. That was a fun experience. Is that something you guys are gonna try to do more of, or is that kind of something just as it pops up, you'll take it situationally, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's just situationally. Tallahassee is a small town, and small towns are weird. So, like, if things like that line up and you can look at the calendar and being like, oh, springtime Tallahassee's not running. Oh, this isn't running. Oh, this isn't running. Because, like, you only get so many people in a small town. So you want the event to be great for everybody. So I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but I don't have anything on the books right now.
Yeah.
But do the college kids come through? I mean,
yeah, I mean that's a very transient population base. Where if it's summer, a bunch of them are gone.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then in August they all come back in. But like we do get a bunch of college kids, but you're not always guaranteed that all those college kids are gonna have not been partying the night before and aren't gonna wake up till after
they go home for the summer and they flunk out and don't come back and like loser.
I was gonna say, or they might be broke, or it might be football season. I mean, it's just
I don't want to compete with the hometown team.
Yeah. Tallahassee's the college, and then the aforementioned state and
two colleges. Yeah, both
two colleges.
Yeah.
Three colleges.
Yeah.
Huh? 3? And TCC.
Oh, 3 TCC. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
so that sounds like you got the college, but you know, once you bring in the semesters and everything, spring, summer break and everything and stuff. So yeah, I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, true.
All right, so I want to talk about this one. So you mentioned being into wrestling. So I want to hear your take on. Did you watch WrestleMania and your thoughts on the Cody and Roman Reigns shtick and kind of what's happened after?
I watch wrestling all the time. So people come into the store and they're always like, "Hey, did you watch the new episode of Mando?" And I'm like, "I will definitely get there." But I did watch 5 wrestling shows. I was like, I did watch WWE and AEW and Ring of Honor. Like, yep,
Nice.
I watched all that. You want to talk about the championship match last night? So I definitely watched WrestleMania. It did happen over MegaCon weekend, so I had to spend a whole week telling people not to spoil. I got one spoiler, and it wasn't the Roman Reigns match.
Wow.
I only had the Charlotte Flair match spoiled, which wasn't so bad for one spoiler.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
like, I spent the whole week where people knew I liked wrestling, and they'd come up and they'd be like, "Did you see?" And I'd be like, "No!" And I'd cover my ears and run across the room. I'm like, "I haven't watched it yet." So I did watch it a week late. But, I mean, I watched AEW since it started showing on TV, just about. So, like, Cody losing the title match is kind of amusing to me, since he was just like, I don't want to go on a heel run. I'll go to a different company where I can just do what I want. So him losing, like, I watch with one of my other buddies, and he usually likes all the face characters, and I usually like all the bad guys. So, like, the very first match with Austin Theory and John Cena, and I was like, are you ready for the forever reign to continue in front of the Make-A-Wish children? And then I couldn't believe I was right, though. I was like, the hero John Cena defeated in front of like 50 Make-A-Wish children just to know that, like, your dreams are wrong. Your hero is fallen. And then, like, Cody, I've finished the story. My neck tattoo's terrible. And then getting beaten by the tribal chief. Like, at the end, I was just looking at my buddy like, we the one. I just, I didn't feel bad. And, like, the stuff that's happening after is weird, storyline-wise. They're like, let's have Brock Lesnar beat up Cody for 3 weeks. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but it seems like a bad choice.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to let Brock lose to Cody?
I hope not.
I don't know. Cody just got drafted to SmackDown, so I think they're scrapping that all together. Probably.
No, he got drafted to Raw, my dude. He was the first pick.
Right,
He's
right.
still on Raw,
so
they can give him the new belt, maybe. Or they can just give it to Brock, and Brock can leave for 6 months. Well, okay, so we're clearly wrestling fans. Who's your favorite wrestler, Todd?
Seth. I love Seth.
He's pretty
Seth's
great.
my boy. But don't get me wrong. Like I really enjoyed. I've enjoyed the Bloodline. It's gotten stale at parts, but as it gets stale, they've kind of reintroduced new things. I really enjoyed them adding Solo. I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff with Sami Zayn.
Sure.
And the way they kind of flipped it up, and they weren't really the heel. They still acted like the heels, but they were kind of booked like faces, and I thought that was really cool. One of the things I really enjoy about wrestling is the storytelling. It's cool because, like, from a writer's perspective, like you can kind of, when it makes sense, like it's beautiful. When it doesn't make sense, you're just like, bro, what?
Yeah, what are you doing?
So like the stuff post WrestleMania, really, don't get me wrong, I loved that Cody lost. Okay, like I genuinely enjoyed. I thought him coming back, winning Mania or winning the Rumble from the 30th spot, and then kind of like the way they tried to work him in on the Sami Zayn story, I didn't like. He kind of was like, well, he was kind of talking down, in my opinion, to like Sami the whole time, and I just wasn't vibing it. And so I was cool with him eating the L. And I didn't watch Raw. I watched a lot of the premium live events, and then I'll just kind of read what happens during the week. But I didn't. I read, that Brock came out and Brock was going to be the tag team partner for him, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is perfect. Like, I love this. Like, this is great. I love Cowboy Brock. Like, he cracks me up. Like, he's
Sure.
my like. And then when he turned on it, I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, it's
Especially
stupid.
Immediately.
Yeah.
If
There's nothing about it.
Yeah, if he'd done the match, Cody got the rematch at Backlash,
And then he takes it out.
Brock
Sure.
turned on him later to be like, I didn't get anything out of the deal. F5.
Yeah,
Cool.
sure.
But just being like, I'll be your teammate, and then 45 minutes later, killing him.
Well, again, like, even just from like delivering standpoint, like, if I'm in that audience and I am thinking I'm about to watch Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa in a tag team match against Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, like, this is
That'd be
amazing. Awesome. Like, oh my god, how disappointed are you
to just watch Brock fight Cody for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Like if I didn't even stayed up that late to watch it, okay? My kid goes to bed at 8 o'clock. She wakes up around 4 or 5 in the morning, pretty much every morning, all right? My sleep, that time is a premium. So if I had stayed up till 11 o'clock to watch that happen, because I still don't understand why Raw's 3 hours long, that's stupid. But if I had stayed up to watch that, I'd have been pissed. I might have been done. We have a buddy that I'm pretty sure is done with WWE over that crap.
I mean,
Logan, we love you, buddy. But yeah, like just I don't know.
So I never watch Raw or SmackDown the day they preview because I have Hulu with no ads. It turns out both those shows are only an hour and a half long, and they just have an hour and a half of ads.
Without the 20 minutes of commercials.
In a much shorter window. If you want to watch, if you watch it one day later, you're like, oh, wow, that was such a pleasant experience. Not having to watch like tax shaver ads for an hour and a half. But like, I agree with you. That specific one, even not staying up till 11, like watching it the next day, I was just like, oh, well, I guess we're doing this now. But I didn't feel like that was a cool reveal. And then just having Roman Reigns like look at the situation and be like, I'm not going to wrestle today, roll out of the ring and leave. And then watching Brock then suplex Cody for 10 more minutes, you're like, no, I got it. He's dead. He killed it. He died like 10 minutes ago. It's fine.
Like, bro, the printer in Office Space got off quicker than Cody. Like, that was stupid. Like, yeah. And then the new title belt, like, it just...
So if they take away one of Roman's belts and just unify it into one again, I'm fine with it. But if he still has two belts,
no, I think they're getting rid of the
blue one,
WWE
probably.
One.
Bro, I think he's gonna keep walking around with two. I think he's gonna keep walking around with two, and then they have this new belt. And I'm putting it out there. I think Seth needs to win this new belt. I think if Cody wins this belt. First off, there's going to be way too many jokes about, okay, cool, you couldn't win that belt, so they made you another one, just like you couldn't win.
Just like last time.
Yeah, so it's just come on, man. So I don't think Cody needs to win that belt. I think it needs to either go on Seth or it needs to go on a heel.
I think so in wrestling as a whole, like I don't know, so many people, Roman Reigns, even Bianca Belair, who I really like. Claudio Castagnoli with the ROH belt, like so many people, Gunther with the Intercontinental title. We have like everyone on every historic run ever. Jade Cargill in AEW is like 57-0, and you're like, how do we take the TV title off of someone this strong? Like her and Gunther, like the same like threat level of just like, I guess we'll crush everyone for this lower tier title, and you're like you talk about writing. I would be impressed if you could write your way out of that in a way that makes sense where you go, and this person beats these unstoppable juggernauts who've had the belts for 400, 500, 1,000 days. So I guess like adding the new belt makes sense because you go, well, I don't know how to get out of that one, so I'll just make a new belt. But like AEW just like they have the international title, the TNT title, like they just keep adding belts instead of moving them.
Everybody has a participation trophy in AEW.
That's right. Everyone's got a belt. And like if this new WWE belt, they're like one of the biggest jokes we talk about is how many belts WWE's had, especially if you had the NXT brand stuff that adds like 9 more belts, and you're like, well, everyone's just going to have one. And then like all the story writing that happened, like the lazy story writing is just like, Todd, I want to challenge you for your title. And that's our whole story. And then you crush me and go on to hold it for 50,000 days. But then I get my own title a year from now. And then I'll hold that one.
And then eventually the original person will take that one, and now they'll hold 3.
Can have more belts.
And then you'll create another one. But again, that's where I don't know. I was talking with some buddies, and like my theory was, again, I think somebody like a Seth needs to win it, needs to basically be the anti-Roman and defend it on like every show, like just defend the crap out of it, get a bunch of wins. In fact, jokingly, get him to as many wins in like 6 months as Roman's had in 3 years. You know what I mean?
That'd be a great story.
and then get to like let them run it till Survivor Series and do the matches where they fight each other, and then let like the Seth or whoever it is win and like legitimize that belt. Because again, like, and why I think it should be Seth is because Roman doesn't have the win over him. Like, he won via DQ in their match, which I thought was amazing. I love when he came out to the Shield entrance. I thought that was really cool.
And like Seth, it feels like he deserves the push into actually being the main eventer.
To be as over as he is, with the fact that he has lost 95% of his matches in like the last 3 years, like he has been the anti-Roman. Roman has won everything. Seth has like taken so many L's, and somehow people still care about him.
Sure.
Because again, he's just he's over. But yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorites. I loved the Shield. Like I enjoyed it. Like, it was fun. I got back into wrestling around the same time the Shield was around, and it was I just always, those three, like, I always root for him. And I actually enjoy Roman when he shows up. Like, Roman's freaking awesome.
I feel like Roman was not cool for so long that finally hitting the tribal chief head of the table gimmick, it's like, you did it, bud. You finally are awesome. And when you show up, it's so cool. Like, even though his entrance like takes as long as the Undertaker's now, I still watch all of it. I watch the like slow walk down, hand me the mic, acknowledge me. It's cool. It's very cool. Like, but he's still not as over as Seth Rollins.
Right.
And Seth Rollins, like, you just stack L's on him, like they stack L's on Baron. Like, they tried to make people care about Baron Corbin more than Seth Rollins, and it didn't work.
No.
And like, I don't know. I'm also not very interested in Gunther. Like, he's another character that he's like, I don't know. I'm a big Austrian man who chopped big meaty men slapping meat, and he's held the title for 500 million days. And every time he comes out, I just go, do I want to fast forward through this segment? I don't need to watch him like chop Ricochet down again.
Oh yeah,
I'm good. How do you get the belt off of him? Unless you just like, you have to get them to choose to drop it. Like, I don't need this one. I'm going after Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns or someone with a bigger title.
Well, so here's my logic on how you get the belt off of them. Okay, and it actually goes back to the old Stone Cold Steve Austin. You hit them with a car. That's how you do it. They don't make them take the L. You hit them with a car. You put them out for like a couple of minutes. Exactly. and then you bring them back. Give me an opportunity to miss them, and then you bring them back. Let them fight for it. Pull the old Shawn Michaels, show back up with the belt, and try to challenge for it. And you do go do something like that. But like, I don't know. There's ways you can do it. And again, AEW needs to step their game up with writing their stories. But for
100% agree. So those are like, that company has almost all my favorite wrestlers, especially like, I used to watch AEW and NXT and not the main roster, but I was watching NXT with Undisputed Era, with Adam Cole, with Keith Lee. And then like every time there'd be a new debut on an AEW pay-per-view, I'm like, Adam Cole and Keith Lee. And when they came over and went, I'm good. I'd like, all my favorite people are there. But like, so this is the one I always talk about, is Ricky Starks beefed with MJF, who has the heavyweight title.
That was
and
really
they were fighting
good
for the Dynamite Diamond ring.
Yeah.
And
that was a good story.
And it was almost awesome, but you have to let Ricky win the ring, and then have MJF defend the belt so they can keep feuding. And then like that night they went, well, this match is for both. And I immediately went, well, MJF's not losing both, so who cares? And like, I was like, Ricky has the gas to actually feud for this title, and you just punted it. Like, once Tony Khan started like being like, I'm the only booker, but there's so many people on that roster, like Jeff Jarrett, like him or dislike him, he booked Impact in like the golden era of Impact. Christopher Daniels booked Ring of Honor. Like, there's people on the roster where if he just went, hey, is this a good idea? They'd probably be like, hey, we can make your show better.
So this is funny you bring that up. So for me, AEW actually always reminds me. There's a comic, they did a video game, the Injustice video game. They did a comic book for that video game, okay? And it was like a weekly one that came out. And the first season was absolutely amazing. The second season, absolutely awesome. Third season started to get a little wonky. And what you could tell was they had this already planned out at the gate. Like they had planned it all. And then eventually comes season 4 of this comic book. Like it was off the rails. They had no idea what they were doing. AEW feels like what they did was they knew who their first champion was going to be. They knew who their second champion was going to be. They knew who their third champion was going to be. And when they got to Punk and he got hurt and they lost all their momentum, they were like, we don't have a plan for this. Mm-hmm. Like we haven't had any issues before. And seriously, since they signed Punk, which was one of the coolest things, like they got him to come back, fantastic. But since then, they lost like their momentum. And then when somebody retired Vince, and I still think to this day, like Stephanie McMahon, like leaked that stuff and like got him out for a little while, and Triple H made WWE like cool again, is when AEW like lost its momentum. And now they need to do everything they can to get that momentum back.
I mean, I think the industry, like historically, it's probably good long term for AEW to go through the growing pains.
Sure.
And they'll probably go on a run where they'll find magic again, and they'll find a bloodline, or they'll find a something.
Oh, I think he's going to be
on a hot streak, and then you never know. WWE, like when AEW was killing it, WWE was kind of stale. Like with Vince being like, I don't know, Bobby Lashley crushes everybody again, and you go, yeah, okay, that's fine.
But you got to understand, though, wrestling always goes. It's like a wave.
Yeah. It's like
sometimes they'll bring like
so it's like the Marvel and DC.
Like Stone Cold was like the sheriff and stuff like that. That was some of the greatest time, man, because you never knew what the hell Stone Cold was going to do when he came out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is when they're introducing. Like when John Cena first came out, I remember when he first came out, it was like, this dude, who the hell is this guy? Then he went on to become one of the biggest names. Yeah. And it's a wave, you know, and you got to play, like I say, sometimes you got to play the heel, and then sometimes you got to play the good guy. But if they don't do it right, then it does turn, you'd be like, especially if you could tell, like he's finna turn bad. And then like 2 weeks down the road, boom, he turns bad, turns on everybody and stuff like that. And it's like, we saw that coming, you know what I'm saying? Give something different. So, you know, you just got to, it's just a way. 1 minute, the new guys will come out NXT or something like that, because that's what NXT started out, is like the new breeding ground for all the new cats to come out there. You give a shot at them before you go over to the other bigger stage and stuff. So it'll do. They'll come back with something.
They've got some stars in NXT that I think can that'll bring it up.
I'm gonna be real. I would rather AEW rebound. Like WWE can stay still. That's fine. I would rather AEW rebound. I have more faith. I want AEW to win more than I want WWE to. You mentioned, like, again, their version of Bloodline. Like, I love the Blackpool Combat Club. Like, I would love for them to kind of become that. Like, now, like,
You like that?
Oh yeah. Like,
they're the most. Like every time they come out, I'm like, ugh. They're just not interesting. Them and the Outcast, now that they're the same faction. Like,
so the potential's there. They're missing something, and the potential's there. I love all the individuals in there, and very similar to, like, I feel like the Bloodline was missing the Solo and the Sammy, and then that made them interesting, and they made it work. Like the Combat Club is missing that piece right now, and again, that was Regal for a little bit. Like they were working working towards it. But they're missing that. But the people they have in it, I think, is, again, you can build around that. They're missing that entertainment piece right now.
Yeah, I think they have all these factions that are loaded with cool people, but they haven't figured out how to actually make them feud if it doesn't involve Chris Jericho. Like, Jericho carries feuds, and he's good at it. When he comes out, I'm like, I love this guy. But he's the one who's like, I'm going to say something funny. It's a new T-shirt. We're feuding now. But, like, Wheeler Yuta doesn't do that. Like, letting him talk, you're like, okay, bud, pat, pat, pat. And then Moxley's going to give another person a concussion, and that's the story.
That's typically about it. And now I think they're doing something with screwdrivers, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
They can give his cool eye patch back.
Yeah. But like I remember the this is gonna be horrible. One of my favorite matches that they did was like their first like stadium stampede match, like during like COVID and everything.
Yeah.
And like that was beautiful. Like that was just from like an entertainment standpoint. And they were running around, like I think it was Everbank at the time. I don't know what they call it now, but where the Jaguars play, and like they were doing that whole thing. And I'm just like, dude, that's great. Like that's like you have the ability to do it from like an entertainment standpoint and make sure it's entertaining. And they're just lacking that right now. Like they haven't found that balance between like really strong wrestling and being entertaining.
I think their problem, and like I've stood on this recently, is not that they forgot how to make good stories. Their roster's huge.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, well, we need to put these people in matches, but you don't build anything because like next week they're going home and you're putting like the next members of our super huge roster. So hopefully when they add the next Saturday show that they can like split. And I really want them to split the Ring of Honor roster instead of just having people bounce back and forth and do whatever. Like if the Ring of Honor people stayed there, and then if they crossed over, it's a big deal. Like, oh, at this pay-per-view, they're showing up instead of being like, this Wednesday in a squash match. Yeah. You're like, yeah, that's fine.
Well, and I think the way they could do that, again, you get your Saturday show. So that's your, that's really your SmackDown. Like you have your Rampage. That's cool. Whatever, do that. But your Wednesday is your Raw. Your Saturday is your SmackDown. And then treat Ring of Honor like your NXT. And then, have the rosters, completely separate. And make it easier to kind of follow the stories, and then mix it up often enough to create unique matchups. So I think it's there. Like you can make it happen. It's just, is he going to have a strong enough personality to make it happen?
The other thing, and then we can move on to comic books.
Yeah.
The one thing I think that like WWE and like especially NXT when Regal was the guy gets right is like the story boss would make sense. Like when Tony Khan talks, he looks like an android. He doesn't blink. Other people have to have noticed that like this dude doesn't blink. But like when he makes an announcement, you're like, dude, I like your company better, but you're making it very hard. Where like if someone like even if they had a wrestler who was the story boss bad guy was also like the boss. Like, even if it was, like, I think, like, Christopher Daniels would fit that role really well. If he was the story boss that, like, people respected and then announcements came from him instead of, like, the unblinking android.
So I want Kurt Angle. Like, I love me some Kurt Angle, so that's who I would want to do it.
Sure. And it doesn't matter. You just need someone that is, like, the story boss that could be like, it's official and like interact in these segments instead of being like, I'm going to make an announcement on International Women's Day. We're renaming the men's title the international title. You went, oh no, bud. Come on, man. That was a team ball. Like, what are you doing? Wow. So comic books.
Comic books.
I have one.
Boom used to do a WWE comic book. Yes, you do.
Ooh, I like that one.
Ooh, sparkly.
I like that cover.
Is that gold? Nice new.
Gold.
Does
I got
say
some gold. I got some gold covered ones now.
I didn't know that.
I like that.
I got some rare ones. See, this brought it back, right?
Rare.
Yeah, that's sick.
Look
I'll
at
give you
that
$1 for it.
How many?
How many?
What?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, fun time.
Todd, do you like read any comic books actively?
Yeah, I do.
What's your favorite one going right now?
All right, so I read Power
Like
Rangers.
the Wasp and Ant-Man.
I don't know. Power Rangers, I stay pretty up on. Turtles, I usually stay pretty up on. I've been reading the trades of Something's Killing the Children, which I've really enjoyed. And then I've been catching up since we signed with Scout. I've been catching up on a lot of Scout titles. So I just read Stouty Bunny Volume 1 and 2, which is actually really, really cool. If you ever get a chance to check it out. But it will make you double check every stuffed bunny in your house, which we have more. So, yeah. And I actually bought it from you guys when we were there like a week or two ago. I bought the Ric Flair and the Magic 8-Ball book, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I've been trying. I I can't read when I'm writing. So like if I'm writing for a couple weeks, like then I can't read anything. But like after I'm done, I'll go back and read. So I just was reading the Power Rangers and Turtles crossover #2, which I thought was really well done. The first crossover was really good, and I didn't know how they were going to top it in the second one. And the second one's actually been like even better. And I'm really glad. Like, good for y'all. That's solid. So, how about you? What do you read?
I also keep up with Something's Killing the Children, and that was definitely a book that like got super hot, and I was like, yeah, okay, we sell a bunch of it, it's cool. And then I actually read it and was like, okay, all right, you got me, James Tinian. Like, and I read like a Nice House on the Lake. It's pretty much like, it's like, oh, Tinian's writing a spooky book. I guess I have to read it.
We're here.
But I also like I keep up with Miles Morales. Like, he's my favorite Spider-Man, and I think they've been doing a really good job on that run lately. The Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead DC book. Like World War II zombie killing rules. So I like to keep the books.
So here's Something's Killing the Children, and it's very interesting when you read it. So I read a bunch of indie books as well, but Something's Killing the Children. You can tell when a book is written by a writer who has no idea how many issues like he has, compared to a book that's written by somebody who's like, I have 12 issues guaranteed. You know what I mean? So like, because the way that book is paced, like truthfully, like it's 12 issues. Like the first like 2 trades, the first 12 issues, it's like one event. It's like one like night, like maybe 2 days. I think is what it covers. Like, it's not a very good space of time, but like that's when like you've got time and you've got a cool concept and you're gonna have a cool mask that's gonna sell, like, and you're gonna have like some volume to it. Like, you can take your time and you can build that story. Whereas like if an indie person was doing that, like that would have been covered in 2 issues. Like,
yes, because you'd be like, please renew for issue 3. Please.
You don't have time to screw around with that. Like, it's not happening. Like we're not going to spend 12 issues on the one thing, because I mean, like, you get through 12 issues of that book, man, and like you still barely have any information whatsoever. Like I again, like, you know her name and you know like a very little bit about it, and you're still on the hook. And again, it's great. Like, that's not taking any type of shots at the book. Like, I love it. I only read the trades. I can't read the floppies because there's just not enough content. Like, again, it's not enough. But like, I mean, it's very well written, and the art's amazing. So
the other one that I read recently, which I didn't realize was by the Philadelphia creative team.
Okay.
But I read the Blackula trade that just came out, and it's a sequel to the first movie, I think, and it pretends like the second movie didn't happen. Okay. But it rules. Like, it's so cool. Like, the art's really good, and like yeah, I'm gonna rep Blackula on the podcast.
Sir, we're talking about the black exploitation movie of Dracula.
That is correct. That is correct. And I also love the first movie. It's really good.
I'm quiet and speechless. That is also good. I didn't know Blackula had a following.
I will say, I mean, like, all right, tread lightly. Don't cancel me on the podcast. But like, it's pretty cool because Blackula is one of those movies where like the main character was so cool, and like he even talks about like racism in the movie and like how it's not okay. And you're like, yeah, no, there were definitely like movies from that time period that should get canceled forever. But I stand by the first Blackula was pretty cool.
Blackula was a pimp. Blackula was a pimp who got bit by a bat. That's all it was. He just got cooler with style, you know.
He became immortal. That's funny. I'll check that one out. I want to read. Somebody told me about it the other day, and I've never seen it, but it's called "Do a Powerbomb."
Yeah, that book's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, I just missed it, I guess, but I want to read that one. Somebody's like, yeah, it's like wrestling meets Dragon Ball Z, and I'm like, wait, what?
What?
And,
It's like wrestling meets kind of also wrestling.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I want to redo a power bomb. I think I need to find out. I think it's out in trade. I have to admit, I'm getting to a point from a collecting standpoint, I'll pick up the floppies, but for reading, I just enjoy reading the trades a lot more.
I almost only do trades now because I do a lot of my comic book reading when I'm going to bed, and doing the floppies with the bag and the board and them sliding all over everywhere, that just doesn't work as much as book. I can set it back down and it's fine.
So now, do you ever read when you're at the shop? Are you ever just all right, screw it, like you guys are slow, you're at 20 minutes, I want to read this? Or
I am never slow enough to ever do. So when the store was smaller, there was every now and then there'd be a couple times you're okay, I'm in the last hour, I haven't seen anyone in half an hour, I'm going to read one single issue. And then as soon as you go, all right, someone walks in and go, oh,
ding,
so you
ding,
don't
ding,
have anything
ding,
to
ding.
do today? And you're I hate you so much. And it would, clockwork, they would come in 45 seconds, I've read one panel, and then they'd be oh, I guess you didn't do any work today. And you're you're about to get super kicked. So I just stopped. I don't do it. I read all my books at home, but at the shop in its current iteration, I do more business running and interacting with customers. There's not dead time or downtime where you're and I'm gonna read comics. We get so many people that are I want to work at a comic book store. I have no people skills and I like reading comics, and you're I'm we do a lot of work though.
It's funny you mentioned that because I do cell phones for a living, and cell phones, the equivalent of that is going to buy lunch. You will be absolutely, just slow as get out. You haven't seen a customer all day. You go and buy lunch, and when you get back, there's 12 people in line, and everybody needs whatever they need is going to be calling customer service in 45 minutes to an hour worth of help. And then you try to make excuses to go in the back to take a bite of whatever you just bought. And a lot of times you end up just eating it cold. And we call it the Russell diet, because that's where I work, Russell Sailor. And so it's just, you never get to eat your lunch. So yeah, we have our equivalent of that.
That exact thing also happens at the comic store. I can't tell you how many times you go, okay, I have a sandwich. And it's right before you take the bite, someone's can you baby me around the entire store? And you're I guess so. I'd be happy to. Yeah, the two things you can do to make customers happy are eat lunch or try and take a poop. Then those two things are guaranteed a million. If you're man, I'm just waiting for this person. They want to sell a comic collection. I don't know when they're coming. Try and eat lunch. They'll come right there.
Yeah, I believe it. Oh, so you mentioned buying collections. I've heard a couple stories, good and bad, in terms of situations like that. So what's kind of that what do you guys actually look for whenever you're looking to buy a collection? Do you have any horror stories? We have 5-10 minutes before we need to wrap, but do you have any horror stories that are kind of funny that you want to share?
Most of the story, so most of you become numb to it after a while, and I think that I'm the mean negotiator, and people think that I'm mean, but that's normally because at this point I go, this is what you have, this is what it's worth, this is what I'll pay for it. So I think I'm just being the truth teller, but I don't do a lot of hand holding. So people always go, well, I have comics, what are you looking for? And I'm I'm not trying to be a jerk, I'm looking for things worth money. It's not really rocket science. But we have bought comic book collections out of a trash can. out of several igloo coolers. Those are popular.
Wow.
Liquor boxes. Like we've picked up stuff that is just in the awfulest condition, and then we've walked on stuff that like you go, this is a pretty good thing that you have, but like this is what it's worth, and like usually people get on eBay or whatever and go, I have a random single issue. Google it, and they go, well, this slabbed 9/8 double signed is $4,000. So this $3 book is worth $4,000. And like most of the collections, like you go, okay, well, what do you want? And they go, I just want what's fair. I really I don't know what I have, and I go, okay, well, I'll show you. Like, these are the better ones. These are the ones that are just going to get bulked out. This is what it's worth. This is what I'll pay you. And they'll go, well, I did some research. And I'm like, well, oh, so now we did some research, and now we have an opinion on, like, what we want to get paid. Or, like, usually, like, most of my horror stories involve, like, someone bringing a collection to me going, okay, do you smoke cigarettes? Was this in a shed, an attic, or a garage that doesn't have a door? And they go, how can you tell? And you go, well, it's bad. It smells like molten cigarettes. And then, like, you thumb through all the books, and I go, you know what I didn't do again? Put on gloves. And a lot of people, like, are like, oh, you put on gloves because you want to preserve the comic. It's like, no, I'm just used to touching so many comics. I'm like, I need to scrub my hands for 45 minutes. But, like, I mean, I've been in the parking lot, like when Mark has been negotiating a deal and he told the people what their stuff was worth, and like okay, well, this is the offer we can make you because this is what it's worth. And I was talking to my friend in the parking lot, and I listened to these people come out with their boxes, and they're like, bleep, 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 and they're just trying to make money on you and blah, 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 blah. And like, you got like $1 million in book. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, this is the funnest story that I can remember. Someone comes in with like 10 books, and they put. I was clearing for New Comic Book Day. They just walk in, they slap like 10 or 15 books on the table, and they go, "I want $100,000."
Jesus.
And I'm like, "Well, let me look at the books first." Like I have $100,000 walking around money, but I look at them and it's junk. And I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, but like I wouldn't pay you $100 for these books, let alone $100,000." He's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "These books aren't worth money." And he goes, "Are you serious right now?" I go, "Yes." So he calls the duty bottom front, and then I end up in the middle of this thing where I go, "Hey, if you don't mind me asking before you call this guy, what did you pay for these books?" He said $6,000.
Ooh.
And I was like, well, you should get your money back because I wouldn't pay you $10 for the stack of books. So he calls the dude on speakerphone in front of me, and I'm like, I do not want to be in the middle of this. But like in your head, it's like there wasn't a red flag where he goes, "These are worth $100,000. I'll take 6." Like that doesn't happen. And I was just like, I listened to him, and he's like, "I'm at the comic book store. I'm with the comic guy. He said that these books aren't worth any money." And then the dude just kept being like, "Man, dudes at pawn shops don't know anything. Like, they're worth money, bro." He's like, "I'm not at a pawn shop. I'm with the comic book people." And I was like, I was just hoping every day. I'm like, I don't want like a brick through my window because like I think that dude caught a butt beating. Like, there's just no way. You're like, "Yo, you're giving me my $6,000 back," but like I don't think I've ever like dropped someone as low as they paid $6,000 for a stack of books that I was like, no.
You ever watch that show Pawn Stars? This sounds like the comic book version of Pawn Stars.
You know, I did take a lot of my isms from Pawn Stars in the early days, like a lot of like
sounds like
people have this weird thing where they go, "Well, this is worth $1,000," and then like I did take things from Pawn Stars. I'm like, that means I'm not going to pay you $1,000, right?
Exactly.
And I'm just like,
I've got to make money somehow.
Yeah, I have to pay the light bill and the employees and all this stuff. Like, and like I've had so many people walk away from me where they go, "I think I could sell it for more myself," and I've looked them dead in their eye and been like, Yes, that's exactly how this works. You sell it to me, I sell it for a profit, but I prefer you sell it and just bring the money back to me. That is the easiest way for me, is you do all the work and just bring the money and pick up your comics and games and stuff here. But if you want to do no work, I have to make money.
Oh, God. Well, it sounds like this story is very exciting. It sounds like you could get beat up in the parking lot. So it's a place I would like to visit.
For sure. You're welcome anytime, my man.
Hey, Marvin, you know when you should come up? July 8th. You should come up July 8th or 9th for Infinity Con in Tallahassee.
Other side.
At Donald L. Am I on the other side? Is it? For me, it's over here. You should come up to Infinity Con for at the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center on July 8th and 9th. July 8th.
I will check my schedule, sir. You know I'm a very, very busy man.
Yeah,
it's hard to be a rapper / actor / producer.
It's my birthday that weekend, so that could be my birthday.
There you go. So you should come. You can either crash with me or crash with Nick, and we will be up there. Follow Comics will be there. And we will all have a grand, fantastic time. There will also be a lot of great guests. And in fact, David from Infinity Con is going to be our guest next week. We don't do this very often. We're actually going to announce our next guest. We're going to have David up here next week. And we're going to be talking about the show. And I've just realized as a bad host that we actually have guests that are talking in the chat that I have not been paying attention to. So, my bad, guys. My bad.
Who the hell are those people and what are they doing?
So, Infinity Con, July 8th and 9th. Free comic book day this weekend. Fallout Comics. We'll go make that happen. Nick, so where can anybody find you on either social media? Where can they find the store? Give us the deets.
You mean to the millions of followers around the world? Millions and millions. We are Fallout Comics on Instagram, Fallout Comics Tallahassee on Facebook. FalloutComics.com is undergoing a change, but it'll be up and running soon. All the social media pretty much goes to me or Matt, but I'll see it. So if you want to talk to me, that's the best way to get a hold of me.
That's the best way to get turned down the phone call.
Yes,
that's right. That's right. You can call the store, say give me money. I'll say no, but you can come visit the store. It's on Appalachian Parkway in Tallahassee, in the same shopping center as Best Buy. Come to Free Comic Book Day. Come see Todd. Come see. We'll put a little picture of Swerve up at Todd's table so he can be there in spirit. Come see Other Nick, aka also Todd.
You call him Nick too. Nick too.
Come to Infinity Con. David, you can forward the check to me.
All right, and then the last question before we get going. You got any advice? Anybody who's looking to potentially start up a shop or get into comics as an industry, what advice would you give them? How would you help them kind of overcome some of the early hurdles that you guys are into?
Go into a different industry. I'm just kidding.
Is it though?
Don't do it.
Okay, can I tangent for like 1 minute?
Yeah.
So I used to work for Department of Children and Families inspecting daycares. Like that's what I did for the state government. So like we would have to go to these places and they'd be like, is this a good idea for a daycare? And you have to be like, legally, I can't tell you what is and is not a good idea, but I can do this and say that maybe you should go into a different industry that you might make money at. But like the thing about comic book stores is like the biggest thing is like the thing with any sales, like you selling cell phones, anybody selling anything. You got to be nice to people and make friends. Like that like everyone has been to a little comic book store where they go in and like you are not acknowledged at all. And you go, well, I guess I'm not going to get anything because like, I don't care. And then you've been in comic book stores where you go, that person was really cool. They have my business forever. Like the biggest advice you can get, because everything else is not clever. Like get the best rent you can, get more money in than money out. Like, that's all no-brainer stuff. But you can control your attitude and your customer service, and like, everyone has bad days there and there. Just don't let one bad day become 2 bad days, become 3 bad days. Like, everyone has an off day, but do the best you can and be nice to people, and that will go a long way.
I respect that, and I think that's great advice. Also, I'm probably going to have to hit you up and ask about some of the daycares in Tallahassee. So, yeah, that's great.
It's a little too late, sir.
Nick, this is interesting because we have a Nick that does school investigations, and another Nick who did investigations on daycares. So you guys cover the whole gamut.
Yeah, you'll be good. We can
in the side hustles. So, all right. Well, that is going to be it. That's going to be a wrap for us. Again, Free Comic Book Day this Saturday. Go to Fallout Comics. Free Comic or Infinity Con July 8th and July 9th. Tallahassee. Go check it out. Next week we will have David. Swerve, continue to be awesome, buddy. See you guys. Have a great one, and we'll catch you next week.
I will come to Tallahassee, Nick. I won't call you.